NFL Week 1 is in the books, and this is your DraftKings NFL Week 2 first look. Guys, NFL Week 1 was epic. It was epic for DFS Army. It was epic for me. It was epic for these video breakdowns and all of that. But we got to keep it going all season long. So we're about to break down NFL Week 2. Take a look at DraftKings. Get a feel for what we're going to target, what's going to be good chalk, where the bad chalk is. We're going to avoid all of that. And let's get ready to smash. Now, full disclosure, of course, it was a pretty good week for me personally on DraftKings for NFL Week 1. And what I wanted to point out here was very much, if you watch my off-season videos about how to make money on DraftKings, what the contest styles to enter, and where to focus your entry dollars, you'll see here, money where mouth is, the Super Booster, $27 entry contest. I think I put, maybe 13 lineups in there, got a couple in the win column for a $2,000 gain. Small tournaments, this one, 378 people, second place. So we absolutely crushed it with the picks week 1. But the big news was DFS Army member, Domination Station enthusiast Rotom Wash takes down the $1 million top prize on DraftKings in the Millie Maker. Hell yes, get a beautiful message from him. Thank you so much for the videos. Finally hit it. Thanking Christ who strengthens him. And of course, Jesus as well was shining his countenance down upon him with happiness. Congratulations to Rotom Wash for a life changer. We had a lot of big winners in NFL Week 1. Screaming Golfer as well. This was just amazing. Screaming Golfer puts 149 out of 150 lineups in the Millie Maker in the cash, ends up with 70K. I think there was, I counted 7, 8, 10 lineups in the top 100. Unheard of. So one of the things that's really important to note is the tools doing what they're supposed to do. We learned it in the offseason. We did back testing. We saw low ownership is king, slight correlation. And if you stuck with my cores that I gave out to you right here in this video in NFL Week 1, you absolutely smash. So very exciting stuff. Check this out. NFL Week 1 core value plays. Von Achane. Monster 18.788 point projection for 6,900. And he's third overall projected in terms of raw points on the slate, just behind Bijan Robinson, who costs $1,100. Ricky Pearsall pops up as a number as a top wide receiver value on the slate. 4,500 on DraftKings is an absurdly low salary level for effectively what should be the WR1 for the 49ers. I've got to get at least one piece, maybe two pieces from Seattle to prove that they're making a game of it. So we'll throw Jackson Smith and Jigba in there. We got 6,100 for the flex, and in the flex, you can do whatever you want. That was Rotom's lineup right there. So right off the core plays video, hopefully we're going to smash some more cores in NFL Week 2 and produce another monster week for everybody. So congrats to all the big winners. If it wasn't you, just know that it can be you if you're using the right tools, if you have a Domination Station at your side, the best projection system in the industry by far. Prove it again and again. More tournament takedowns per user than any other optimizer, including ones that cost $300 plus per month. Superior projection gets it done, and everything else is just bullshit. Ownership projections, player projections, keep your lineups low owned and crush, guys. That's how we do it. All right, let's get into NFL Week 1. And I like to look at the game tiles on the Domination Station and get a sense for which games and which teams have a chance to pop here. And there are definitely some interesting things. The first thing we have to really think about is just ignore a little bit of what we saw in Week 1 on the bad side. Embrace the good side, ignore the bad side. That's how I'm going to present it. What do I mean by that? Week 1, some of the offenses were definitely a little bit out of sync. How many weeks does it take to kind of get back in sync? We'll see, but usually you play that first game, you get a week of practice in, come back, you're going to be more in sync, a lot more than you were in Week 1. So some of these big disappointment spots, I definitely think, hey, give them a chance. Don't overreact. Flip side, do react to players that showed you something in Week 1. Be that they showed you, hey, this is our running back one when we got the carry. So we're going to get into all of that and really talk through each team and see which ones are should we be nervous about and which ones are just, hey, man, it takes a minute. All right, so let's start with the first game on the slate here. We got the Browns at the Ravens, 45.5-point total. Ravens coming in with a 28.25-point team total. That is the highest team total on the slate. And this favors Derrick Henry and another smash running back game. So not too much to overthink here. Normally, Lamar Jackson could be fine, but also in non-competitive games, doesn't always smash. So could be, but don't know. Really, I think this is a Derrick Henry spot, right? Second up, we've got a couple of teams that absolutely disappointed in week one with the Jaguars and the Bengals. 49.5-point total, though. So the odds makers not too scared about those offenses coming into week two. Thought they might be a little more scared, but they aren't. Interesting, right? Bengals, 26.5-point team total. The Jaguars not far behind at 23, especially how bad Trevor Lawrence looked last week. They're still getting respect. Put some respect on them, I guess. 49.5-point total. So this is a game to consider. I'm not going to be scared of Joe Burrow just because he's coming off a mid game last week. That doesn't scare me off. Now, Trevor Lawrence and crew, a little scary. That one's a little scary, but I guess we'll have to see, and you have to have some balls, a little silly for the Millie action there. Cowboys, another team, looked not very good week one. There were some issues, some drop passes, but overall was not super impressed. Dak didn't put up big numbers. None of that. George Pickens, nowhere to be found. The biggest surprise, not surprise if you watched my best ball streams, but the biggest happy surprise, I guess, was Javonte Williams kind of locking down that RB1 role and doing it, getting it done really well. Javonte cheap this week again against the Giants, heavy favorite. We go right back to it. Remember, we want favored running backs as much as possible. Next, we've got the Bears at the Lions. Lions coming in with a 26.75-point total. And again, should we be scared? Goff didn't look that good. Ben Johnson gone. Oh no, it's no good. No, don't overreact. Week one, tough matchup, tough defense, divisional opponent, the whole thing on the road. Now they're at home again. I think the Bears defense is maybe not bad, but at home, this Lions team is pretty close to unstoppable. I think we want to go right back to that offense. Jameer, the whole thing. So right back to it. And I don't even mind Caleb and maybe some pieces from Chicago here in bringbacks. Just this is a good game to build around 47.5-point total. Another team that we're nervous about here after week one is certainly Miami. They look terrible. They're back at home. Tua didn't look that great. Waddle maybe hurt. We got a lot to look into with this Miami team. If Waddle's hurt, Achane will go right back to him. I think yes. I think we go right back to Achane here. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. He didn't have the volume. Nothing what he did was that great in week one. Don't care. I think we're going to go right back to it. And on the Patriots side, Trevion Henderson and Ramondre kind of split in touches. Mediocre overall performance for Drake May in week one, but they're facing sort of what might be a in chaos disaster in Miami. Got to pay attention there. 49ers at the Saints. 49ers, maybe it's possible that Brock Purdy won't play this week. He got banged up the toe, banged up the shoulder. We'll see. I think he plays, but you never know. If he plays, though, they did lose a bunch of their playmakers, which will concentrate even more target share to the remaining playmakers. So Jawan Jennings looks like he's out for a few weeks. George Kittle, definitely out for a few weeks. That just leaves Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall, and effectively, just signed yesterday, Kendrick Bourne. So I love Pearsall and McCaffrey here. I think they're going to get a ton of usage. Bills at the Jets, right? Josh Allen, the nut QB for NFL week one, put up a monster score. He's going to do that all year long. The Jets could make this game competitive, which would effectively make Josh Allen an even more exciting play. So nothing wrong here. Pieces on the Bills side with a 26-point total. And I might even consider rolling some Jets out just because, Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson, there's so much volume that's going to happen just because they don't really do that much else. I think just on volume alone, even as an underdog at home, I'm okay with it. Seahawks at the Steelers. Listen, Aaron Rodgers looked good week one. Can't deny it. But, how long is that going to keep going? I don't know. He's not somebody I'm ever going to trust in DFS. I don't really want a whole lot of Seahawks on the road action here with this 40-point total. Probably going to avoid it. Rams at the Titans. Titans coming in with a pretty low 18.25-point total. Kind of want to avoid anything to do with that. On the Rams side also, this is just a bit of an avoid game for me. Panthers at the Cardinals. we'll talk about that game a little bit. 25.5-point total for the Cardinals is interesting, but it's tough to kind of figure out where they're going to go with the ball. So probably not going to be super high on that game either. Broncos at the Colts, low total. Broncos have a good defense. I get all that, but how about Danny Jones? Danny Dimes dropping dimes out there. Exciting stuff. The biggest playmaker for the Colts last week, Michael Pittman, a wide receiver, but it was really Warren who was doing everything for the team. So might have a little interest there in Danny Dimes in this one. If they make a game of it, of course, I think we'll get even more smash from the Broncos here. But I think on the Broncos side, we didn't learn that, J.K. Dobbins is the starting running back there. So in case you didn't know, now you know. Eagles at the Chiefs. This is an exciting game that can go either way, right? I could see both these teams play good defense. So I could see things kind of starting slow, maybe playing some tough defense. But at the flip side, I could see this thing spiraling out of control. Both teams can score very quickly, especially if they fall behind. So a Super Bowl rematch, a lot of possible outcomes here, including a monster smash to the upside. So we saw Jalen Hurts didn't have to do that much with his arm, or wasn't that successful with the arm in week one. A lot of his success came from the legs and Saquon and running for touchdowns and all of that. AJ Brown with just one reception. That's so gross. We warned you that that's what you're going to get in season long with him. You're going to get monster games followed by complete duds where you're like, can I get me at least a 12? And he gets you nothing. That's the worst in season long, but that's fine for DFS purposes. On Kansas City, they lose Xavier Worthy, I believe, for a few weeks, which really leaves them with just Juju Smith-Schuster, who's hashtag not that good, and Hollywood Brown, who got 16 targets last week and is a prime value play for NFL Week 2. So we're going to be all over that as well this week. Guys, let's get into the player pool. And again, reminder, big congratulations to Rotom Wash, $1 million DFS Army winner. And of course, Screaming Golfer, 80K in the DraftKings Sunday Million as well. To see so many DFS Army helmets up top was unreal. Let's see if we can do it again this week. And I just want to mention that in celebration of the big Millie Maker win, we are offering a special promo, which is scrolling below. Promo code Millie, NFL Week 2 only. For this week only, we extended it 20% off any DFS Army subscription level. VIP, that's what you want to do. You know how we do. VIP, you want to join the Cool Kids Club where we take down tournaments and we take down multipliers and we have fun in the Discord and we root each other on. Check out DFS Army, promo code Millie. Celebrate the Rotom Wash win this week. And for those of you guys who are DFS Army current subscribers, we will be throwing a big celebratory swag bag and prizes free roll for all of the members to celebrate the big win. Rotom Wash, life changer. We're excited for him. And we're excited to celebrate with a big DFS Army member free roll. So that will be posted in the DFS Army Discord. Make sure to check that out. All right, here we go. Player by player. We're going to go position by position, and we will build our all value lineup, which we can then use to branch out into lineups for tournaments, multipliers, and all that good stuff. But primarily the purpose of this video, especially the first look, is just to take a first look. Let's refresh our minds and shows of what happened in week one, so we're fully aware across all players. So we're gonna take our time with this one. We're gonna show some game logs and all of that, and we'll give our thoughts on each player as we go and build this first look lineup, starting with Josh Allen, who had a monster week last week, putting up 41 3/4 points, 33 for 46, 394 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, along with the running. Guys, we saw Keon. It's not known yet. We're still early on this. Of course, we talked about it all throughout best ball season. That's why we're loaded up on Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman is the WR1, I believe, for this Bills team. And I think he's kind of a real WR1. Khalil Shakir was always miscast. That's not what he is. So Allen to Keon Coleman, this and any week is going to be a thing all season long. But Allen can put up monster scores whenever. And if the Jets can make a game competitive, of course, he'll be a big part of it. Lamar Jackson coming off a pretty good game as well, throwing for only 200 fantasy points, but he ran for the touchdown, 70 yards. He's just so good. He's always going to get it done. He can get it done here just by accident. Like He could just accident his way into 30 points in this game with Baltimore having the highest team total on the slate. But I do not think Cleveland will be competitive in that one. So something to keep in mind. I do think this Philly KC game is interesting. Jalen Hurts, 25 fantasy points last week, only 150 passing yards, 19 completions. Who did they go to? I don't even know. Threw a couple touchdowns. I know that Dallas Goedert was involved a little bit, but it certainly wasn't A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith that were catching passes. So Hurts is going to give you what he's going to give you. Could pop for a massive week at the right time, or it could just, go to Saquon for all we know. Joe Burrow coming off of a dud game, only 8 fantasy points in chalk on the road against a team that he's traditionally not been that great against. So he keeps it up. You didn't call him Joe Slow Roll for nothing. Joe Burrow tends to take a couple of weeks until he gets his rhythm. It's been like this at the start of a lot of these Bengals seasons. He seems to always start slow. It's week 2. Can he bounce back against a terrible Jaguars defense? Sure. Yeah, maybe. I like going right back to it. I don't mind going right back to that high total game. I think we'll need Jacksonville to not suck also for this game to be interesting. I'm definitely most interested in Chase Brown in that game, but I'll have some Burrow stacks. I don't see why not. Panthers at the Cardinals. Kyler Murray. I'm never a Kyler Murray I don't play Kyler. He wasn't on my sheet last week. It worked out. He only put up 18 fantasy points. He's always kind of in this 18 to 22 range. He always seems to be priced in the middle here, a little too high for me. So I won't have too much Kyler Murray week 1. Brock Purdy injured, has a lot of weapons hurt. Probably not somebody I'm going to mess with. Pat Mahomes, on the other hand, is interesting in week 2 here. Put up 26 points last week, threw for only 258 yards, but ran for a touchdown. Okay. All right. But in this game against the Eagles, if this goes a certain way, Mahomes is a fairly comfortable or playable guy here, stacked with Hollywood Brown. He's cheap enough. We're not paying up. We're not paying the iron price here. Bo Nix, nor the dud last week. Bo Nix didn't really make many of my lineups. I didn't build almost anything around him. I didn't really like that matchup. I want more competitive matchups. This one looks a little bit more competitive, which is good for Bo, I guess, at the Colts. One thing to note was that it's very much Bo throwing to his main guy, whose name I can't remember. Courtland Sutton. That's right. It's Bo. It's just mainly Bo throwing to Courtland Sutton. Marvin Mims Jr. A little bit involved. Evan Ingram got banged up last week, so we'll see what it is. But maybe I'll have a little bit of interest in this one. Jared Goff, I am going to be interested in tournaments. Always a dangerous cash game play. More so because they can lean heavy on the run when they want. But overall, I like Goff in the spot. Chicago defense. Chicago in general, the team, I think they're going to be one of those teams that can score a little bit, but they're going to turn the ball over and just be sloppy about it. And man, if Chicago gets out to a lead here and Detroit makes a comeback, that could just be this huge opportunity for Goff. So I don't mind it here at 6K. Coming off the dud, he shouldn't be that high owned. Back at home in the Dome, bounce back spot. Same for Dak, another bounce back spot. Dak Prescott coming off a dud last week, feels gross. Tough matchup though against the Eagles. They have a pretty good defense. Dak just not looking that great out there against that Eagles defense, but team was a little bit off. Okay. So what? We liked them coming into the season. I'm not ready to give up on them. I'm not feeling super safe like in a cash game environment here, but going right back to Dak, mixing in some Lamb and Pickens and Ferguson. It's not that many pass catchers. It's really just those 3 that I'd be interested in with him, and probably big backs from the Giants. So I'm definitely going to have some interest in Dak next week in tournament stacks. Maybe not a cash play, but certainly in tournament stacks. Stafford is not somebody I use in DFS, but Justin Fields, listen, another guy, Monster Week was in the nut lineup. Justin Fields, where is it? Where's his lineup? Justin Fields up top in the nuts last week. 1% owned on my sheet as well. Guys, where else did you hear to play Justin? Oh, you like the Jets, Kevin. No, I don't tell you to play Jets quarterbacks every week. Don't even try that. Justin Fields last week made the sheet, made the notes, made the million. I think we'll go right back to him. It's a tougher matchup, but so what? The Jets are at home, and Fields does things that just score no matter where or when or who they're playing against. So I'll go right back to Justin Fields this week, and I don't mind a stack with him and Garrett Wilson. Trevor Lawrence. Him, I'm a little more nervous about. I said week 1, don't overreact. And maybe I shouldn't be overreacting, but man, I don't know. He just didn't look that good in week 1. They didn't need him that much. They kind of ended up just leaning on Travis Etienne, and it was fine. So what will be, I don't know. But I'm not fully ready to give up on it yet. Lawrence is an easy stack with 2 out of his guys. So, and this game is going to be high scoring, and they're going to have to be throwing the ball. I kind of like it, but it's going to be a harder button click in week 2. Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going there for this one. I get it. He had a monster game last week. He's going to have to prove it a few more times before I start to believe it. One quarterback I do kind of like, though, down here is Caleb Williams, 5,400. Caleb did a lot of the things that we want from our high-scoring fantasy producers. What was the passing great? No, it was okay, though. He put up 210 yards, decent completion percentage, and but I like the running. He's doing a lot of scrambling out there, and he's fast. He's avoiding defenders. I think they're going to be indoors. They're probably going to be playing from behind, tossing the rock. So unless it's an absolute decimation, which I don't think it will be, I think Caleb, again, going back against Ben Johnson's old team, I just think this could be a decent spot for Caleb again. I'll default to Bobby Wow later on this week, but I don't mind it. I do not mind it. As a matter of fact, I think he's one of the better low-cost values on the slate. Him, Justin Fields, they're both going to pop for me. Of course, I want to see what ownerships are before I get too crazy. Last week, if you thought you were being cute with a play, like I thought Daniel Jones and was a cute play. And all the ownership went to Flacco. I was like, all right, Danny Jones. I loaded up on him last week. Speaking of Daniel Jones, he could be okay here against Denver right now. I'm not trying to take him against this elite defense. I'm probably not going to do it, but can't ignore the monster game, but also the running prowess, the touchdowns. I just don't think the Colts are going to be in position to score as frequently this week. But that being said, the odds makers have this game a little closer than I would have it. There really aren't any other viable quarterbacks on the slate. So for our week 1 top value quarterback, I'm going to go with Fields here. I went with Caleb in the FanDuel video, but I think Fields or Caleb kind of make for the best pay down options in my mind on the slate. And of course, the pay up options are galore, and we'll have all that for you on the cheat sheet this week. All right, moving on to the running back position for NFL week 2. We got Derrick Henry coming off the monster game. We all know what he did last week, 169 yards, got the touchdown, put up 33.2 DraftKings points. Derrick Henry does not need to catch passes to put up monster scores. He gets the bonus. He gets 2 touchdowns. He's the man, right? So Derrick Henry in a smash spot against Cleveland. Nothing wrong with that. Saquon Barkley as well. Yes, is the KC defense good? Yeah, they're very good. They're good against the run. Okay, fine. But Saquon Barkley is better than good. He's the man. So Barkley caught a bunch of passes last week, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 18 carries. Not the smash game that you want out of Barkley, and yet he still put up a reasonable 18-pointer. Keep in mind here at 8K, 816, 24, we need about 32 for it to be worthwhile. Here's another thought just about week 1. Just keep in mind that lower scores won in week 1. That's not what's going to be in week 2. The scoring will come up. Don't worry if you put up a bad score. Oh, I only put up a 120. The 140s were winning tournaments in week 1. This number is going to come up closer to 200 in week 2, and it will continue to rise as the season goes on, as players start to get priced a little more appropriately, and as offenses get a little more in sync. Now, one guy I'm obsessed with this week is Christian McCaffrey. Go right back to it. We were core play on Christian McCaffrey last week. Got a little nervous with the calf injury, but it's fine. And how do I know it was fine? Guy got 22 carries, 10 targets, 9 receptions, and that's what I'm looking for. All of those targets. Who else are they going to throw to? Who are they throwing to this week? Christian McCaffrey, even at 7,500, is a value in a smash spot against New Orleans, even if Mac Jones plays. Keep going. More studs. How about Jahmyr Gibbs? 10 targets, 10 receptions, 9 carries. Yes, Montgomery played a little bit as well as he normally does, but Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a smash all season long. Do not get scared off by what happened week 1. Can go right back to it. The only reason I'm not really loading him up is because McCaffrey HN and Brown are so good. There's so many core running backs. I don't even know what to do with myself this week. So Gibbs, very good. HN did not have the target numbers or anything that I'm really hoping for, but that whole Miami team was shit. HN still came through and was in the tournament winning lineup last week. That's what kind of a week it was, right? The 16.5 was enough to win the million. Again, HN in there, core play, right? But I actually prefer Chase Brown, who got all of the carries, effectively almost 100% of the work for the Bengals last week, and really didn't put up a high enough score to sort of like suck in the ownership. So HN, great. Chase Brown, I'm plugging him in here. If I had to prefer one, I'm going to prefer Chase Brown at home as a favorite. Yes, HN's a favorite, but his team is just a disaster right now. Actually, is he a favorite? Are they favored? Miami, hold on. There might be an underdog. It's a really close game. No, they are favored, but just barely. I want a big favorite at running back. That's what Chase Brown is against the Jaguars. I mean, come on. Where were we? Keep going. Jonathan Taylor. Monster game, but didn't get the touchdown. Very disappointing last week, considering how well his team did. James Conner, guys, check this out. So Conner, he was a chalk play. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 12 carries. And what happened, I was worried about this. This is why I didn't make him core or any of that, even though he was popping on the projection model. You know, Trey Benson came in for 8 carries and a target. So you got Benson with 8 carries and a target. You had Conner with 12 carries and a few targets. So this is more shaping up to be like a 60-40 situation. This is not workhorse levels. Doesn't mean Conner can't pop off, but what it does mean is I probably don't need, I'd rather take a workhorse who will not have to split carries for this price than have to split carries for James Conner. So GPP only, the floor is lowered on James Conner now that the team said they were going to do it. And that's what I was waiting to see. And they did it. James Cook at the Jets. Yeah. Okay. 5 targets, 5 receptions last week. James Cook was just fine out there. He's clearly the lead back, even though he ceded some touches to the other guys. I just feel like he's going to get a touchdown in this one, but I'm not sure the volume will justify this price. So GPP only for him as well. I'm still going to favor McCaffrey, Brown, and some other names that are going to come up in a little bit. Kyron Williams, acceptable spot, but just keep in mind on the road here as a favorite that Kyron's not catching as many passes. So, we need him to do a lot with his legs, and he definitely needs to score at least once to pay off here. Breece Hall, tough matchup, but did prove that he is the kind of primary running back for the Jets. 4 targets, 2 receptions, 20 carries. That's a full workload for a running back at 6,400 at home. Again, I prefer favored running backs, which is why I'll probably be off Breece Hall, but still outside of big tournaments. Last week, I warned you about Kamara. I said, don't play running backs on underdog teams that suck. I'm going to repeat the theme over and over and over again. Team's not good. They're not going to score many touchdowns. That does not leave many opportunities for Kamara to score touchdowns. He will have big games, but he's going to pop in the projection model every week. So be careful with Kamara. He's not the kind of player that you want to just load chalk up on because his team, he needs touchdowns. Every player, if we're going to win tournaments on DraftKings, we need players that score. And I just don't see the Saints scoring that frequently this year. Yes, they might score 2 in a game and he might get 50% of that. Sure. But what if he gets none of it? So he's going to get a lot of no touchdown games this year, and I don't like it. Chuba Hubbard coming off a pretty good week. Chuba got most of the carries for the Panthers, had another workman-like lunch pail performance as he does. Chuba, always kind of a safe bet. But again, I prefer favored running backs. Pollard, same problem. Javonte Williams, on the other hand, monster game, big call out by Bobby Wow for the Thursday night football game. Load up on Javonte, ends up producing a 20, being the nuts captain. What a call. Great stuff. 2 touchdowns. Not a ton of rushing yards here, but got a couple of targets. He does everything that you want. And quite honestly, the Cowboys offense was off in that game. So I think they'll be even better here in the spot against the Giants. And I like Javonte for 5,800. I'm fine with it. Swift in a revenge narrative game at Detroit. Not as much in love with that. He got a bunch of carries last week, some targets. He's doing it all. There's really no one coming in to spell him. So he's going to get a full workload here. But he is, again, an underdog running back against a pretty tough defense. He's fine, but not somebody I'm going to purposefully look to aggressively target. On the flip side, Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne locks down the RB1 role for the Jaguars, so much so that they went out and just got rid of Tank Bigsby the next bye. No backup here. They got Bajal Tootin, who they feel good about, but that's clearly a backup. So Travis Etienne locked down the starting role. At 5,700, that is not bad. Again, prefer favored running backs, but this is an acceptable spot as well. Kenny Walker, on the other hand, be careful. We did not draft Kenny Walker this offseason in best ball, primarily because of what happened in week 1. What happened? Well, Walker winds up mostly splitting touches with Zach Charbonnet. And that's the problem when your backup is just as good as you are. Charbonnet might be better than Kenny Walker, but maybe he's just the same as Kenny Walker. Either way, that's a bad scene for us when it comes to loading, fantasy production, because we're only getting a half share. Walker needs volume to produce, so I'm going to avoid that. J.K. Dobbins, on the other hand, also kind of showed us that he's got the lead back role locked down for the Broncos. This is a good spot for J.K. Dobbins, little tournament spot. They're not, they're still mixing in Harvey, but Harvey only gets 6 carries, 1 target, compared to Dobbins, who got 16 carries, 2 targets. So Dobbins clearly the lead back. Dobbins can pass protect. Harvey not that good at it. So that's why Dobbins is going to continue to be in the game. I don't mind Dobbins here. I think he's one of the cheaper, viable running backs on the slate. His team's favored. I don't mind a little stack with him and Colts defense. Not my favorite, but acceptable. Then, of course, we got Trevion Henderson as well. Seems to be the better back in New England, but still very much a split. Only 5 carries, more targets in the passing game for Trevion Henderson. So I think that situation is going to continue to evolve to the point where eventually Trevion is going to be the lock button, like 80% guy. But we're not quite there yet. I like this price. I don't know if I want to get on board the train before or wait to see the train leave the station and then jump on board with Trevion. But I like his price even better on FanDuel, so I will target him there rather than here on DraftKings. I'd say the same for Montgomery. Montgomery seems to be like the kind of running back that when you take Jahmyr Gibbs and all of a sudden Montgomery puts up 2 touchdowns, I could absolutely see him getting 2 touchdowns in this game against Chicago. So might have some interest there, and I might do a 2-touchdown bet on him. Yeah, that's going to do it for the viable week 2 running backs. Let's take a look. Actually, let's jump around a little bit. All right. No, we'll just go for it. We'll go top down. So next up, we'll take a look at the wide receiver group for NFL week 2. Now, Jamar Chase crushed everybody last week with his terrible game. If you played him, there was so much value. He was a tough button click anyway, but 2 of 5, pretty gross, 4 points. Can go right back to him. He's still Jamar Chase. He's still awesome. Can go right back to Jamar this week. I'm only going to probably play him in a Burrow stack, but great. Same with CeeDee Lamb. Look at all these targets, 7 receptions, 13 targets. If he catches the drop, instead of 21, he's looking at like a 35-pointer, and he's in everybody's lineup this week. I love CeeDee Lamb. Let's go right back to him. No problem there. Puka, 4.5-star play, Millie Maker winner. Do not be scared of Puka. 26.1 fantasy points with no touchdown on a low-scoring kind of turd game. Like, he just comes through. This guy is the man. He is just as good as anybody else priced up ahead of him. He's got a great quarterback in Matt Stafford to play with. There is nothing to be fearful of with Puka. Malik Neighbors also getting all the targets. Didn't do much with it. 12 targets, 5 receptions. I'm not sure if Russell Wilson is any good. I think kind of sucks, but, this will be more of a bring-back piece for Dallas game. Dallas for me than anything else, mostly because just Puka's right here, and CeeDee Lamb, they're so good that even Malik Neighbors with just as good, but with a bad quarterback, not as sexy. Amon-Ra also coming off a bit of a dud. Doesn't matter if you're playing Goff, you play Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra at 7K is crazy cheap. Forget what happened week 1. Take it out of your mind. Brian Thomas, same thing. We got a good price on BTJ here. Could not catch a pass. Could not connect with Trevor Lawrence. Is this a problem between him and Lawrence? Is it just week 1? My guess is this is all bullshit. He'll be fine. Brian Thomas Jr. will be fine. I need to see him dud out a few more times before I give up on him. A.J. Brown, we already know this guy's going to give you these kind of games every once in a while. It's just going to be what it's going to be. Tournament only. Jalen Hurts lineups only, really, for A.J. Brown. Garrett Wilson. I don't mind Garrett Wilson with Fields. Put him in there right there. No. We're not going to do that for this sort of value approach to the lineup. Like, Kevin, how's this a value lineup with McCaffrey and Brown? That's how good the value is on McCaffrey and Brown. They're still value plays. But as far as the rest of these wide receivers, I like Wilson. I like Wilson with Fields. I'm fine with it. Look at all of the targets. 9 targets, 7 receptions. Almost all of the targets for the Jets went to Wilson. Got the touchdown, got the big score. It feels a little chasey to go after it this week, but I don't think people are going to be on it. Similarly, Tyreek Hill, I don't love Tyreek Hill. I didn't play him last week. He was also a chalky play. And you guys watched the video. I said, hey, Geek, why didn't you like Tyreek Hill? What's wrong? Why shouldn't I? Why? You don't know anything. Why shouldn't I play Tyreek? Maybe I don't know anything. But I just didn't like Tyreek Hill. I think he's part of this dumpster fire team right now. But if Jalen Waddle is out, let's read the news. It's going to be hard to ignore Tyreek Hill in a spot where who else are they going to throw to? Like, they'll have no one else. Achane and Reek. So we're going to be on that. And by Achane, same thing. I might even put Achane here in the flex. If everybody's hurt for this team, they're at home. If they can recover it all, this will be big. But I also think there might be some dumpster fire going on in Miami. So not ready to make that call, but it is definitely sketchy. Sutton is okay. Big week. I don't, 9 targets, 6 receptions. Go right back to him. Seems unsexy, but maybe that's the sexiest play. Seems unsexy. Maybe that is sexy. Zay Flowers, best game of his career, 31.1. Didn't think to play him at all. Still won't be playing him, but he did have like the best game of his career. So, T. Higgins, priced down a little bit from the 64 down 61. Didn't do anything, just like Chase. No one did anything for the Bengals last week. They bounce right back. Don't worry about it. Go right back to him as usual. Jackson Smith and Jigba, part of the Millie Maker winning lineup. 13 targets, 9. This is what I'm talking about. No one else. These are the kind of wide receivers that we want to focus our energy on. No one else to throw to. There's tons of guys like this, and they have higher floors because he's a high floor. Even in the tough matchup at Pittsburgh, it does not matter. He's got a high floor. They don't have anyone else to throw to. Metcalf looked pretty good out there with Aaron Rodgers. Did he get the touchdown? No. 83 receiving yards. Again, kind of the only game in town for that passing attack. And then they're throwing to the tight end, they're throwing running back. So they're going to spread it around. But I think Metcalf's going to have a pretty good year. Devontae Adams, only 4 receptions last week. He's got to get in sync with Stafford still. They're not fully there yet, but I think big games are definitely on the horizon for Devontae Adams this season. Harrison Jr. had an okay game. Not super exciting. George Pickens didn't do much week 1. But if we go back to Dallas and Dak and all that, I don't mind it week 2. DJ Moore and the whole pass catching group from Chicago. So this is an interesting one. Now, I kind of like Caleb Williams. But with DJ Moore, my observation in watching this game is that DJ Moore is probably not going to be, he had 3 rushing attempts. They're kind of using him all over the place. I think he's going to give us a lot of good games. And I think the salary is kind of reflecting what I'm thinking here, which is don't look at DJ Moore anymore as the 1A for the Bears. I think they're spreading the football around. They're throwing it to the tight ends a little bit. They've got Roma Dunze in there, and even Olamide Zacchaeus was getting just as many targets. Like if we put in Olamide here, he probably had just as many targets as, 7 targets for Olamide, 7 targets for DJ Moore. Odunze got a bunch of targets as well, 9 targets. So for me, I think the best pairing with Caleb is probably going to be Roma Odunze in that game. DJ Moore's fine too, but we can't look at DJ Moore the same way I might look at, for example, Jackson Smith and Jigba, or guys who I know are or Garrett Wilson, where I know they're definitely the primary option on their team. I don't think that's what DJ Moore is anymore. I think now he is in a split situation. So no more WR1 treatment. We got to kind of think of him more of a WR2. But don't worry. We've got so much value coming up where your brains are going to explode. That's why I haven't clicked a name yet. More value. The cheaper obviously, the cheaper we go, the more value's coming. But guys, this is where we made our money last week. Remember to hit that like button. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you enjoy this content. And if you're a DFS player and you want to smash promo code Millie, DFS Army, get signed up. You know you want to do it. You know you've been waiting. If you don't like it, cancel it. Do a monthly. Do a weekly. Cancel it. But without the power of the domination station, without the power of our prop projection model, the most accurate projection model in the industry, I challenge all comers. If you think you're better, they aren't. We've been consistently ranked in the top 3. It's a 10-year process by Daily Overlay, but our current model is our best model ever. Domination Station, producing winners nonstop. So for years, hundreds and hundreds of tournament takedowns. No matter what anybody else does, they all try to take us down, and it never works. We keep taking tournaments down. What more can I say? Half the price of our competition too, because we're all about average Joes taking down DFS pros. I love it when average Joes win big tournaments. All right, we're keeping going here, and we are going to get to these super bargains. So let's get to it here. Jalen Waddle, I mean, he got banged up, so I want to kind of see what the story is. If he's hurt, I'm not seeing even a Q tag here, so he might just be fine, in which case, I probably don't. I know. We'll have to deal with that as the week goes on, but he did get banged up in that game, so I want to hear more about his status. Tet McMillan was chalk week 1. Bryce Young winds up playing terribly. And so, of course, Tet McMillan kind of failed in that chalk spot. Put up 11 fantasy points, 9 targets, 5. It's really, he did okay. I don't mind it. I'll go right back to this. I think we can go right back to him. Arizona does not have a scary secondary. And yeah, Bryce Young might be just not good. And maybe he's that. But if Bryce Young plays a little less bad, I think it's going to be Tet McMillan, who is the primary and almost sole beneficiary with the way it works out. So Tet McMillan, still very playable. Jerry Jeudy had a dud last week. It was all, 8 targets, 5 receptions, but it was all Cedric Tillman. I feel like Tillman got more action, but that was cool. We liked Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman was a lot of my lineups last week. That was actually great for us, and it worked out, but my Jerry Jeudy lineups did not do that well. This is the guy I want to talk about. Ricky Pearsall, smash game last week. Put up 17.8 at 4,500, which was the nuts play, right? But he really only got to target 4 times, 4 receptions, 7 targets, 108 yards. Here's the thing. Juwan Jennings got hurt. George Kittle got hurt, making Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey effectively the last kind of remaining weapons for the 49ers. So in the spirit of they have to throw it to someone, it might be Pearsall. Again, this game not looking like it's going to be super competitive, but I'll go right back to Ricky Pearsall as a strong NFL Week 2 value play until he proves me wrong. I think we're going to keep getting back on that bandwagon. Travis Hunter, week 1, 8 targets, 6 receptions, looked good out there. Actually looked a little better than Brian Thomas Jr., a little better connection with Trevor Lawrence. So I think we go right back to that Travis Hunter this week. But the next man up on my extreme value list is going to be Hollywood, a.k.a. Marquise Brown, who, with the injury to Xavier Worthy, wound up getting 16 targets from Pat Mahomes, putting up a monster 20-point score. And there's no reason that is going to change here, right? Everybody's hurt. Hollywood Brown, kind of the only game in town in the passing attack for the 49er, for the Chiefs. And this might be a tough, competitive, high upside kind of scoring situation. I love Hollywood here. He is going to be a core play for me across all formats in NFL Week 2. So keep that in mind. Do with it what you will. Michael Pittman, good week last week. But the next guy I want to talk about here is Keon Coleman. We have a Bills team with a high team total taking on Jets. Tough to run on the Jets. The most important thing to understand here, I believe, Keon Coleman did what we thought he was going to do in the offseason, and he kind of showed it in week 1. This guy has taken hold of the WR1 position for the Bills. Compare it to Khalil Shakir. Shakir always miscast as a WR1. We begged you in the offseason to take Coleman ahead of Khalil Shakir in best ball. Now, Shakir also gets 9 targets last week, 6 receptions. So he's, fine. But the bigger 11 targets, 8 receptions, the bigger yardage, all going to Keon Coleman, with Khalil Shakir playing much more of the slot, little quick dump off role. So I loves me some Keon Coleman this week. We're going to ride him up to probably a $6,500. Maybe we might even get into the $6,500 salary level by the time, the season is kind of coming towards the close. We're not done here, but yes, Coleman makes our all value list for NFL Week 2. Again, moving on, Cooper Kupp didn't do much last week. Ridley, another, probably okay, actually. The Riddler might be okay in this spot at home against the Rams. So I don't mind the Riddler here, actually. Not bad, acceptable. Romo Dunze, also, we already talked about him. Very acceptable play in Week 2. Calvin Austin caught a bunch of passes, but I'm not going there. but he did catch some passes last week, 4 of 6, and was involved. Calvin Austin, another name from best ball season that I wanted to bring up here. Josh Downs, big disappointment last week. Bateman didn't do anything. Keyshawn Boutte signs with, not Boutte, Kendrick Bourne. I'm thinking of Kendrick Bourne. Did Boutte have a big week? Yeah, out of nowhere. There it is. Okay, so who did the week 1 damage for the Patriots? It's Keyshawn Boutte. Shout out to my boy Ray Zanny, who talked up Keyshawn Boutte all offseason on Best Ball Draft-A-Palooza here on the DFS Army channel. Talked up Keyshawn Boutte as a guy who's going to be heavily involved. Well, week 1, it worked out, and great stuff. I love it when a plan comes together. So, yeah, Keyshawn Boutte might be the guy. Where he came from, I don't know. Wandy here. Cedric Tillman. Again, I like Cedric Tillman most weeks. Demario Douglas, I think, yeah, he got a touchdown. Didn't do much else last week. And, yeah, Diami. No. Marvin Mims, curious what he did. 3 of 4. Acceptable. Marvin Mims will have big weeks this year. Juju Smith-Schuster on KC. 5 targets, 5 receptions. Juju, again, 4K. Not bad. It's not terrible. Let's see who else had any kind of involvement here last week. Olamide. No. I think that's about it, guys. I think that's going to do it for the wide receiver group. Let's move over to defense, and then we'll figure out the tight ends. Now, remember, on defense, I'm just looking for the cheapest viable defense that I feel like has mild acceptability being plugged into lineups. So just start from the bottom here. 2,200 Browns, no. Right? Panthers, no. Titans at home against the Rams, probably not. Jets at home against Buffalo, no. Playing defense against Buffalo is a recipe for getting a negative score. No, thank you. Bears at no, right? Saints, no. Giants, no. Colts, no. Jaguars, no. Seattle, no. KC, no. Dolphins, probably not, right? Patriots, maybe. Just because that Dolphins falling apart, but I'm not ready to write that obituary just yet. So, cheapest viable defense, tough start. Rough start so far. Cincinnati, maybe, right? Jacksonville, not that good. Dallas, maybe. I kind of like Dallas at home, actually. I'm going to plug them in there. I think that feels to me like a viable defense. Oh, we're going to talk about Fan in a second, but seems a little bit viable. But let's see what else. Rams against the rookie, maybe. Detroit against Caleb, maybe, right? Lions against Chicago, I don't mind it. Bills, no. Cardinals, maybe. 3,400, acceptable. Our core defense from last week, the Broncos, this worked out really well too. Put up a 14 against the Titans. Remember, the Titans. And by that, I mean to target them like we did all last year with Will Lutz. Now they have a rookie quarterback as well, so we're going to continue to target those guys. Here we go. Cardinals. Broncos at the Colts. Yeah, maybe, right? San Francisco at the Saints, the Rattlesnake. Yes. And, of course, the best defense of the week is going to be Baltimore at home against Cleveland. Let's jump over to the tight ends. The tight end group is kind of a little less sexy this week. There's not really that high-end sexiness at tight end that we want to pay up for, which is fine. We're going to pay down at tight end. So let's start at the very top, though. Trey McBride always in play every single time he goes out there. 9 targets, 6 receptions last week. 12 fantasy points. He gets a touchdown. He gets you 20. 6, 12, 18. We need about 24. He's definitely within his range of outcomes to get us there. So if you have the money, sure, we could play some Trey McBride. Travis Kelce, on the other hand, even down playmakers, they just don't throw it to him. He's running a lot of routes. They're just not throwing to him. I don't know what's going on. We'll have to give him a few more games here. He claims to be in the best shape of his career. Taylor Swift said that Travis is in great shape. He says it. We got to believe it. But not much going on week 1. And I like the price. At least they're dropping him. $5K, that's acceptable, right? Laporta, acceptable pairing with Goff. Mark Andrews, could just get the touchdowns too. Like, the team has a massive team total. It's a competitive game, no. But Andrews could just catch a couple touchdowns by default. Only 1 target last week. Some of the names I want to talk about, though. Tyler Warren, doing it all. Rushing attempts, 9 targets. I like Ty. Very playable here at 4,500. He's an all-purpose guy. I want to talk about Njoku, who was the chalk last week and fooled all of the odds makers in the sense that his props were crazy high. But what happened? Only 6 targets, 3 receptions. Instead, we got Fannin Jr. Where is he? Harold Fannin Jr., 9 targets, 7 receptions, rushing, lining up all over the place. This guy is a schemed weapon. I don't know if I want any of that this week against the Ravens, but let's keep in mind that Fannin and not Njoku is probably going to be the tight end to roster for a while on the Browns. Hunter Henry, always playable. I kind of like this spot for 8 targets, 4 receptions. Hunter Henry is that low-owned guy that we should always pay attention to. Janu Smith as well, 6 targets, 5 receptions. Arthur Smith picks right back up with his favorite player, and they're just doing their thing. Dallas Goedert, also, hey, okay. 7 targets, 7 receptions. It was Goddard who kind of benefited from everybody not getting targets for the Eagles last week. Go right back to it. You can go right back to that at 3,800. The price is right. This is not feeling like a week to pay up at tight end. Really, I'm not in love with the high-end option, so I don't mind. I don't mind him. I don't mind Ferguson here if I'm going to play. I'm really going to pair this up with the quarterback that I'm using more often than not, but Goddard is cool. Ferguson's fine. Juwan Johnson. Can't go through this breakdown without mentioning 12 targets, 8 receptions. The Rattlesnake loves him some Juwan, and that makes me love some Juwan as well. If the Rattlesnake's going to be throwing to him, I'm fine with it. I'll play him. 3,600. That's cool. There's no Taysom Hill there. So all we're looking for is high target floors from these guys. Brenton Strange, same idea. 4 targets, 4 receptions. He can pop at any moment. Tough game last week, the environment, but the Jaguars are going to be throwing in this game, so I don't have any problem with that. I'm going to plug in, who are we going to plug in here? I'm going to plug in Juwan Johnson here, but many other names relevant, so I'm just going to scroll down. A couple other names here. Basically, Fannin Jr., who I mentioned before. Also, this guy Tungs, Jake Tungs. Who's that? Well, he's in there replacing the injured George Kittle. I'm going to take a look at the snap counts and try to make sure that he's like the only guy, but they got to throw to someone. I doubt they're going to throw a ton to him, but they got to throw to someone. Tyler Higbee Smalls, no targets, no receptions, no nothing. Interesting, right? Who's the other guy for the Rams? They have a rookie. I think his name is also Ferguson. Let's see if he got in there and did anything. No. So they just simply did not throw to the tight end, which is fine. I'm going to just kind of look through a couple of these other. Oh, Davis Allen gets in there, got a touchdown, but no, just 1 catch. So nothing going on down here of interest at the tight end position. So, guys, that's going to do it. This is our week 1 all value lineup. Quarterback, we've got Justin Fields up top, running QB, like Caleb Williams in that spot as well. At running back, we are just playing the studs. McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Devon Achane, all these guys, tons of targets, tons of upside, no real competition for touches. At wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall stepping in. Again, the only game in town for the San Francisco passing attack. Hollywood Brown coming off 16 targets this week. Keon Coleman coming off of 11 targets. Double-digit targets in a Josh Allen offense is something great. We got Juwan Johnson coming off of a 12-target game at tight end, and the cheapest viable defense is the Cowboys. Guys, that's going to do it for your DraftKings NFL Week 2 first look. Big congratulations to Rotom Wash, $1 million winner. Big congratulations to Screaming Golfer, 80K winner, over 149 out of 150 lineups in the Millie Maker, $750 to 70K. I can't wait to see more of those helmet screenshots up top next week, guys. Good luck, everyone. Promo code Millie, the celebration for the Millie Maker win, 20% off your DFS Army subscription. Take care, everyone. I will see you later this week. Helmets up.